Have you ever met somebody with a really unique gift or talent? Growing up, I knew somebody who knew every single bus route across the Birmingham area. He knew every single bus and which route it would take and how to get to different places. So we'd say to him, how do you get to this area of the city? And he'd say, you go from this bus to that bus, and you'd go from this area to that area, and you'd eventually get to the destination you need to go to. I remember that me and my brother used to have a bit of mess around with him, and we used to say to him and make up fake bus routes and say, oh, where does the 99 go? Knowing there was no bus 99, and we'd be adamant and say, yeah, that bus is something that really happens. And this lad would know that actually it's not a real bus route, and he knew just every single route across the city. He had a really unique gift and really unique talent, something which even though I thought was a little bit sad, actually I used to think, do you know what, fair play that he's got something that he's passionate about and he's got a gift and a talent in that thing. My wife is a primary school teacher, and in primary schools and in a lot of schools, they do this thing where students are called gifted and talented. So basically they've got a certain subject which they are better than their average age in, whether it's maths, whether it's English, whether it's PE, it's something they're gifted and talented in. I want to say today that God's unique seal of approval over you is that you are gifted and talented, and you've got gifts and talents within your life. You may well have heard of a story in the Bible. It's very famous. It's a guy called David and another guy called Goliath. David would have been a teenager at the time. He was a shepherd boy, not really much to go on. He was the youngest of 8 sons, and he would have been low in the pecking order, really. Goliath, on the other hand, was a warrior. In the Bible, he's described as a champion, being over 9 feet tall. Basically, Goliath was a beast. David, a young slender boy, went up against this champion, Goliath, in a face-off, one-on-one battle. Everyone outside saw this and were convinced that David was going to be slaughtered, convinced he had no chance against Goliath whatsoever. Realistically, David wouldn't be stronger than him, he wouldn't be a better fighter than him, and he wouldn't be able to overcome him with his sword battle. But what he did have is he had a slingshot, and he knew he was better than him at that. Faced with this bloodthirsty giant Goliath, David reached into his bag and pulled out a stone, and a slingshot hit him, bang, straight in the middle of his forehead. Goliath fell to the floor and died. David overcame Goliath in the most unlikely of victories. Before killing him, David said the following to Goliath in 1 Samuel 17:45. You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. David knew his gifts and talents, and he knew the God that had given him them. He was therefore confident to take on even the biggest of giants. What unique gifts do you have? What has God given you the ability to do that nobody else can do? If you're not sure, ask God to reveal these things to you today. Any battles you're facing, any victories that you need won, God has given you the abilities and the gifts and talents to be able to do so. How are you going to use your unique gifts and talents today for God for such a time as this?